were killed by a German U-boat, leaving their children fatherless.
The children of the village, of course, they looked upon the British soldiers as kind of father figures.
How strange for these young British men that had gone away to war to find themselves cast in the role of
fathers.
of being fathers for these kids.
Yeah, but they were very good to them. They always brought them chocolates and things, you know, and took care of them. People remember the war. They remember what went on here. They remember the kindness of the soldiers. And I suppose the soldiers also remember the kindness of the Faroese people here. They helped them and they helped each other, you know.
Many of the soldiers were from Scottish regiments, probably with some sympathy for the rigours of island life. Some wholeheartedly embraced the traditional struggle to survive, and that included whaling. Hunts like this, where boats herd whales into the shore, only died out in the Scottish Islands about 100 years ago. On the Faroe Islands, they still hunt whales today. The community wants to preserve the tradition of harvesting the bounty of their seas, despite the objections of the wider world. Handling boats is a part of everyday life here, but there's one day a year when the Faroese really get to show their mettle. The national holiday, St. Olav's Day, July 29th. The rowing races are the highlight of the festival, with pride and prizes at stake, and the whole town turns out to watch. Well, if they can peer through the sea mist.
My name is Runa, and I'm the captain for the girls' rowing team for Torshavn Rowing Club.
We always eat together before the race. If we lose or if we win, it's exciting no matter what. If we win this race and the championship, we got 4 trophies.
Yeah, we're going out after the race to party. It's a boat for 6 rowers, and it's a traditional Faroese boat. And in the competition, it's the smallest. You also have boats for 8 or 10 persons.
Champions are triumphant again. They celebrate their win in a way that's familiar the world over. Youngsters who practice their English watching satellite TV. The Faroes are remote, but not isolated. But connections with the original Viking settlers are never far away. The seafarers who arrived here in 800 AD struggled to make a home on these barren, unforgiving rocks. Clinging to the coast for food and transport, slowly settlements were established. Something is striking about many of the houses here today. Camouflaged under a layer of turf, these dwellings reveal their age-old origins. And this house has been lived in by the same family for 17 generations. Parts of it date back to the end of the Viking era. Johannes Patterson is the current resident. The thing I notice right away about the outside is the grass roof.
Grass on top of the roofs, yeah, grass on top of the houses, which is a very common way of building houses in the Faroes. You have an abundance of grass all around. And when you then put the grass on top, you would have also a very quiet house, fairly well insulated house. And also the weight of the grass you might say, hold the roof on top during winter storms. Come inside.
Okay.
Take a look in the kitchen.
All right.
Yeah, welcome inside.
They may have had an abundance of grass, but with no trees on the island, wood was in short supply. The ancient timber in this house had to come hundreds of miles across the sea from Norway.
The house itself arrived here in late year 1000 probably, and came as a prefabricated house from Norway.
Really? So they were doing flat pack?
Yeah, they built it on location. They only had probably the sails to transport, so it was very important to them that they didn't transport more than necessary, but everything necessary in order to have a finished house once they arrived at its destination. Up through this door here, takes us about 900 years back in time.
No way. So this has been standing for 1,000 years?
Yeah, close to it, yeah.
How does it feel, knowing that your family have been living here generation after generation since 1557? I mean, talk about a family home.
Yeah, definitely is a family home, and then most of their lives have been lived in this room. I've always lived here, so it's not something you go around thinking about all the time. But it is, of course, it is special also for us, and yeah, it's a privilege. We feel it's a privilege.
The privilege of being an island people. And for over 1,000 years, the Faroese have toiled hard just to cling on to this precarious land. The daily chore of getting enough to eat. The isolation, yet kinship, of a tiny group of islands so far from the rest of the world. This really is life on the edge. If you've got a romantic idea about island life, then a visit to the Faroe Islands, especially on a day like today with the rain and the low cloud and the mist, then you get a sense of the bigger picture. It is starkly beautiful, but it's a struggle as well. There is a good life to be had here, but it's a life made of tough decisions, hard choices. It's about being pragmatic. And perhaps more than anything else, it's about being prepared to take full advantage of everything that the land and the sea and the sky have to offer.